Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Mind Shifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeannie. Michael and Jeannie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeannie Ryce.
To the brightness within you, and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169, and press 1. That puts you in queue to talk to Michael. Today is our Memorial Day celebration, number 358, and we want to welcome Michael to the show.
To be here?
There you are, yes.
Here I are. Yes, ma'am. In beautiful, sunny clouds rolling in Fort Lauderdale. Looks like we're going to get our daily dose of rain today. And that's, I guess, as it should be. I'm sure the forest and the trees are going to love it, and the Everglades. In any event, we're here committed to sharing the ancient Aramaic tools of forgiveness and healing with every mind, heart, and being on the planet. We're delighted that you're here to be part of the process with us. And as Jeannie mentions, the whole idea of Memorial Day, and of course we include Veterans Day in that same thing, our invitation to you is to join in putting an end to war on planet Earth and actually creating a place in this earth where human life governs, where human life comes first. And when we talk about human life, we're talking about the active presence of love. If you hold a newborn child, you know exactly what a human life is. And our culture, our world, is just about devoid of human life. And what we're looking to do is to reestablish it here on Earth. And how are we going to do that? You know, we all started out in exactly the same way. We all start out as that awesome presence of love, that newborn presence. And then the culture came in and beat out of us our true humanness and beat into us its hostilities, fears, griefs, and pains. And so if you go back into the ancient Aramaic language, the word forgive has nothing to do with letting other people off the hook because there's something traumatic going on inside of you. The word forgive is the tool with which you go inside yourself and remove everything traumatic, literally. Who told us that forgiveness was about removing content from your mind, from your body? Virtually no one. The world has told us that it's all about letting somebody else off the hook because of what's going on inside of us. And we're here to say that's a fraud, that's a lie. It's just not what's true. What is true is that when you forgive, you remove your pain. When you truly do forgiveness work, you remove your pain. You will never forgive anyone ever again for anything that they do. You will never forgive yourself because letting yourself or someone off the hook for what's going on inside of you has nothing whatsoever to do with forgiveness. Letting yourself or another off the hook is called pardoning. Nice thing to do, but not forgiveness. If you pardon and think you've forgiven, you'll never take the next step of removing what never belonged. Now, let's just think of this for a moment in computer terms. When you recognize that you are an energy system, you have an input. And the input, just like the keyboard in a computer, is thoughts, feelings, every sensory bit of information, the visual, the auditory, the ear, the skin, all of the senses bring in information. And my offering to you is that that information is stored holographically in every cell of your structure. And that includes the sperm in the egg. So were you to conceive a child tomorrow, that child would have an structure, every thought you've ever thought, every feeling you've ever felt, every reality you've ever engaged in. Now imagine that you've got a computer and it gets a virus. And when it gets a virus, there is no such thing as a virus removal tool. You just have to keep working with it. And then, it passes on its viruses, its generational patterns to the next generation, and there's no removal process. There's no removal. What do we end up with? We end up with a world that looks like the world that we've got going on right now. Rage, fear, hate, war, murder. Over 200 million people have been murdered in the last century on this planet. And that I'd offer is because the removal tool was removed. And we had a substitution. We had a Trojan horse fed to us, and that was let somebody else off the hook because of what's happening inside of you, and then things will be better. Our offering is things will get better when you remove what's happening inside of you. If you're not familiar with that whole conversation or how that could possibly be done, all the technology is available on our website, and it's free. And so if you head to www.whyagain.com, on the right-hand side, there's a link that says Download Worksheets. It's about the 6th link down. If you click there, the first 7 links will give you the whole forgiveness process. It'll give you a custom set of instructions you can listen to go through the process. And as you go through it and learn it from those downloads, there are 4 or 5 different radio shows where we have walked people through the process, and there's a written set of instructions as well. As you walk through that process, you will find yourself perhaps needing refinements and asking questions, and that's what we're here for. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169, and we are absolutely delighted to answer your questions and help you to refine your skills on learning to remove what never belonged from your structure. So that's our process today, and we're delighted that you're here. And I'll check in with Jeannie. Do we have anything happening in the chat room? Any questions or any callers who have their hand up? By the way, if you are on the phone and you have a question for us, we'd love to hear it. And all you have to do is hit 1. That will put you in a queue. If you are in the queue and Jeannie says, we don't have anybody, we'd love for you to just let us know somehow so that we can get this corrected. We've been having some challenges with the switchboard. So, Jeannie, what's happening?
Nobody has their hand up, so press 1 if you want to talk, and we'll see if the switchboard's working. We're hoping that it is. There's several people in the chat room, but everybody's just listening. Nobody has any questions. So might want to, while we're waiting, go over our schedule a little bit. It's been changing. We're not sure about Jupiter, and we've added Birmingham.
Yes, we're going to be in Birmingham the first week in July, so that's fabulous. It's a place we go to play often, and so
Second week.
Set up to say again.
Second week. First week is the 4th of July week.
Oh, right. Okay, second week in July. So anyway, we're just working on the schedule there, and as we see how that's going to unfold, it'll be on the website again under travel schedule, and then we head to Heartland from there. We'll finish in Birmingham. And we'll head to Heartland to do, actually there's going to be food, fun, forgiveness, and work project happening. The first 10 days is kind of an economy program at Heartland. You can come and do 10 days of Ari's awesome food. We'll be doing some playtime. We'll be doing evening classes. There'll be at least 2 mind shifters and still point breathing processes in that week, in that 10 days. And there'll be evening classes and workshops around the whole idea of everything that we teach. So we'll be doing a wide variety of classes through that 10 days. And, of course, the work projects can involve anything. It's about preparing the property for our intensive. So that'll be starting on July the 12th to the 21st. Then we'll take a day off, the 22nd, and the 23rd we'll begin a 9-day Why Is This Happening to Me Again residential intensive. And we'll finish that one the next Saturday. And that Saturday evening, we'll go right into teacher's training. So we'll do a 9-day teacher training. So there's a flyer on the website. If you want to tap into the details on all of that, we'd love to have you come and join us. And here we are, 646-200-4169. Share your thoughts with us, questions, answers, ideas. anything we can support you in. If you and I were sitting face-to-face in a room right now, and I'd said everything that I just said, would you have a question for me? Chances are, yes. Well, then, please, push one, ask the question. That's what we're here to do. Or if you're in the chat room, of course, you can give that question to Jeannie, and she'll read it off. Or you can send her an email at jeannie@whyagain.com. That's JEANIE@whyagain.com. If you are in the queue and you've got your hand up, you've pushed one already, and you're not showing up, we'd invite you to drop Jeannie an email and let her know, and perhaps just hang up and dial back in again. We've been having some problems with the website the last week or two, and so we're hoping that we're going to get that resolved. So, Jeannie?
Don't have anything right now.
Okay. Dr. Tim with us? Is David with us today?
No, neither one of them.
Oh, where are you guys? We're missing you. Anyway, so, Jeannie, do you have any thoughts?
Somebody just put their hand up.
Oh, cool. I love it when we get questions.
Area code 607, you're on the air.
Hey, Michael and Jeannie, it's Richard. How you doing?
We are blessed, sir, and highly favored. How about you?
Oh, not bad. So I got a chance to watch that movie about the you guys were talking about last week was the guy, the Stanford researcher, and the baboons.
Oh, the one on stress?
Yeah, I got a chance.
Isn't that awesome? That whole thing is pretty powerful.
Yeah, it gives new meaning to "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth."
Yes, absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, I found that a really great movie, and I'm sharing with my coworkers, the supervisors at work. I think it's a movie they all need to see.
When you put that one together with Jill Bolte Taylor's interview, put those back to back. There's a link on the website. Jill Bolte Taylor is a woman who was a neuroscientist, and she has a left brain stroke and describes her whole stroke process. Realizes she might be dying and is in bliss because she's in touch with her human life. And her conclusion is that all of this hostility and fear-based stuff and all the reasons for it and hallucination of the left brain, which we've been teaching for decades, and that she just gives up on that whole game and wakes up on another level to human life. You put those two together, and they make an awesome pair. That listening to that audio with Jill Bolte Taylor, it's really powerful to follow up with and put those two together. And then we actually had Michael Coughlin and Margaret here with us. We had dinner a couple of nights ago here in Fort Lauderdale, and we watched the movie I Am, which is just another statement. I mean, there's so many places this is coming from. It's absolutely awesome. Also, you can go to the website thrivemovement.com and watch another very powerful video. It's a little different venue, but it just says, here's the hallucination the left brain has created. Would you like to make a change? And, all of it together is really pretty potent.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm involved in sort of like a bit of a conflict with a group of people that are into telling people to let go of the story, yet they made up a story to alienate somebody, and then and then when I basically called them to task with the board, they're telling me to let go of my story. It's funny how people will like to make up their story and hang on to their story and tell everybody else to let go of their story.
Well, I love what Richard Bach says. He says, we teach best that which we most need to learn.
Right. So anyway, I'm finding myself in conflict with that and finding myself sometimes in rage over the fact that they're telling me to give up my story, but yet they're going to hang on to their story. And so I'm dealing with my rage about that situation and trying to let that go so that
you might look at earlier times in your life where, and maybe with your power person, where you watch
Right.
hypocrisy take place, just some worksheets around hypocrisy.
Right.
And
Right.
recognize, of course, that we're all hypocrites.
Right.
We all have our carbon-based memory story that drives us, and as long as we're in denial, we're in blockage truth, and we can't see what's ours. I mean, literally, the mind can't admit the information, can't allow the information into awareness until, and that's the whole purpose for the forgiveness process, because when you collapse the story, when you collapse the projection, then there's room for a different truth to show up. And so I invite you to be willing. As you say, you have rage around this. What that says is that there's perhaps some blockage of truth for you on the pain that you have over some kind of hypocrisy that's happened in your life, either for yourself or usually more so with a power person. And rage is just the drug to cover it up. So I, once again, acknowledge you for your willingness to be in responsibility for that coming up into language so clearly that you know it's yours and moving through it. I think that's awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something I'm doing worksheets on, trying to get to the source, that's for sure. I mean, I'm trying to say to myself, let the story go, let God, let whatever happens on its own from here out, not try to be the judge anymore or just trying to let like I said, let it go myself at this point. Let my story go so that they have the chance to let their story go. If I can't let mine go, they won't let theirs go either. So somebody has to be the first one to let it go.
Exactly. Somebody needs to be big enough. And, as you're talking, and you just triggered a worksheet for me to do, which I'll tap into and do right after the show. And that was, as a kid, having a friend that I really liked that my parents felt was a bad influence, was a negative influence. And so, the being forbidden to hang out with that friend. And that may tie in, that resonates in me, and it may be a similar type of thing that you might want to look at as a kid. Was there somebody that your parents dissed that you didn't see that person deserving to be dissed or being cut off from you?
Right.
And see if that kind of ties in. And so thank you for that worksheet. I'll go in and look at that one and process that layer and throw that out and see if that might be your piece of work to do.
Well, thank you for allowing me to talk about this, because I needed to get it out too. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I join you in healing, and we appreciate and acknowledge you for how willing you are to do your work and the difference you're making in the world with doing it. And when I go back to that first worksheet that you called in about and how many times we had to keep going, I don't know, have you listened to that show since we did it?
I did once or twice. I haven't listened to it in a while.
Okay. Yeah, well, just the shift in how quickly you're going right to the core of, I have this piece of work to do, rather than continuing the conversation about them. It's an awesome shift. I mean, that's mega major. If we could get everybody on the planet to do that, wow, what a difference it would be in the world. So thanks for making a difference in the world.
I have another question on a different subject.
Well, before we go to the different subject, just to bring forward the idea of, this is each person that takes an issue like this one and makes a shift in it, opens the energetic space for everybody on the planet to do it. Jeannie was talking about last week someone who we talked with and we were talking about, that there was one mentor of mine that had said that it would take 8 people to shift the energy on the planet, 8 actual human lives. And somebody come forward with the fact that there were 7 just out of the blue, not knowing that I had that in the back of my mind. And so when I shared that with a group of people, one of the people in the class came forward afterward and said, well, I'm just going to wait for my girlfriend then to do the work, and then, let her be the 8th one, and then I'll get in home free. And, just that each of us who does a piece of work opens a space for that 8th person, for that 100th monkey, so to speak, to to make the breakthrough, and nobody does it on their own. It takes a whole community to do this. So thanks for the work you're doing. So you had a question?
Well, I'm dealing with a abdominal hernia, and I'm going to be seeing a surgeon about it tomorrow. But I just wonder, has anybody ever healed from something like that you know of without having surgery?
I don't know anybody personally who has. No, I've heard that it can happen, but I don't know of anyone.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Have a good day.
Last one. All right. Take care. Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks for the call. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice work, Richard. We look forward to getting to see you this summer for the actually going to be there for the whole summer, for the whole program. Richard's going to come and do the 10-day Food Fund Forgiveness, and then be there to be support in the kitchen for the 9-day Y, and then do teacher training. He did the 9-day Y last year. So, Richard, we look forward to seeing you and getting to play with you, and that month is certainly going to create a whole different level of energetic shift for you, and we look forward to bringing you bringing your presence to that, because it's going to bring a whole shift to Heartland. So it's cool to have you on the team and to be on yours. So, Jeannie, any questions in the chat room? Anybody else?
We have two more callers. Area code 970. You're on the air.
Hey, Jeannie and Michael. It's Carrie in Colorado. How are you today?
Welcome, young lady.
Thank you. I just wanted to share something that actually just happened to me, and I wanted to say to the gentleman that just hung up, too, I believe, because of my history of working as educator with Gerson Cancer Therapy Institute and co-directing a Wheatgrass Institute and being involved with a lot of different kinds of healing over the years, that truly the body can heal anything. And sometimes it really takes us, it takes vision and commitment. It takes us knowing that can happen. It takes us accessing the emotional information that caused the physical problem in the first place and clearing that. So there's a lot of pieces to it. But without talking about specific ailments, I just wanted to say that in my experience, I've seen the body heal amazing things, from a man expelling a grapefruit-sized tumor through his chest. And I've seen a person grow a digit back on their finger. I've seen my own broken arm heal in a matter of 6 hours. So it has to do with, accessing that capability. So anyway, and we're
probably one of the most dramatic ones that I've ever seen was a fellow who had this was back about 30 years ago, had a pair of Harrington rods in his back, and they literally dissolved, and his back pain disappeared. So, it's an energetic world, and it can happen.
Yes. And then I just wanted to share this, which I'm not sure if it is applicable or not, but I was just folding a towel, and I had something happen that's never happened in my life. As I was folding that towel, I saw this stream of light pouring forth, and my voice inside myself said, I am a being of love and light, and I'm living in the energetic flow of the universe. And it was just really powerful, and I thought, I'm going to adopt this as my mantra, and it was just this instantaneous, instead of seeing myself folding a towel, I saw energy flowing there. And
awesome.
Very exciting development. So I just really called in to share that. And
you look at the fact that for a year you've been committed and doing forgiveness sheets and doing your work, and as you collapse, the picture world that we live in, that we think is real outside of us and seldom recognizes only true inside of us, then that opens the energy gate, and I think we get the blessing of the experience directly of who we are and the world really is, and that's what opens the gate for human life to show up on Earth. That's the human perception. That's the true perception that sees these energetic patterns and how the world works, and it's just awesome for every person that goes through that gate and is willing to do the work that it takes. I can remember back about 25 years ago having an opening actually that lasted for several hours, and in that opening, similar, seeing energy, I could see literally the atomic structure of the wall and how it moved, and at that point I knew exactly how I could step my frequency up to move through the wall if I wanted to. I never did it, but I could see how to do it. And I don't have a clue how to do that now, but in that state I could see it in that opening. And I can remember just being so excited and say, oh, I knew there was a reason to do the work. I knew it. Oh, what an awesome place to live. And the next piece of information I got was, well, okay, you've been given a glimpse, but if your physiology isn't ready for it, you could burn it out. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was a big motivator to say, okay, I got it. I'll go back and keep doing my work. And so that's cool.
Nice. And I love it. And it's like I got a glimpse of something, and I thought, I don't know, we'll see, but I'd like to call that in on a day-to-day basis and just say I can access this state and allow myself to be present with it. It's an exciting development. It's cool. And it's not about phenomenon, it's just about being clear. So
and of course the world will tell you you're crazy because the world has no interest, and if they were to set up a panel to determine whether you were sane or insane, they would set up a panel of people who would live in hostility and fear and wouldn't have that experience in the next million years without stepping in and doing the work you've done. And so, that's why basically, the mystics are those people go, well, that's pretty mystical. It's because normal perception doesn't show that. And so the mystics are thrown out as a group of crackpots in many circles. It's interesting, even in church circles, people who actually do the work that Yeshua said to do and produce the results that Yeshua said would be produced become outcasts because everybody in the crowd isn't getting that dynamic. It's just crazy.
Yeah. One other question: are you guys going to Winston-Salem? Because I looked on the schedule and I just saw Wilmington on there.
Yes, we're going to be in Wilmington. We're doing 3 days of workshops in Wilmington.
No, but not Winston-Salem, right?
Well, I'm working on Winston-Salem. I haven't heard back from the ministry yet, but we're talking with them.
Okay, I'll just keep posted because a mutual friend whose name begins with a B, who I was with for many years, is about an hour from Winston-Salem. He's going to be gone. He's going to be gone when you're in Wilmington. But if you are going to be in what date would it be in Winston-Salem? Do you know, or not?
It'd be right after Wilmington. If it works out, I'm hoping to do the 3 days in Wilmington, and I don't have the schedule in front of me. Actually, I do have the schedule in front of me. I can give it to you. Give me just a second here.
But likely to be a Sunday sermon?
Say again?
Likely to be a Sunday sermon?
No, actually we'll be at Unity of Wilmington the 24th, 25th, and 26th. And then I'm hoping that on the 27th, 28th, and or perhaps the 29th, we'll do something in Wilmington or in Winston-Salem.
Okay. I think he's still going to be gone.
Okay. Well, I'll keep you posted in any event.
All right, great. And take care and many blessings, and it's exciting.
All right, lots of love. Nice work.
Okay.
So, Jeannie, what's happening? Any callers? Anything happening in the chat room? I think you said we had two callers, please.
We do have another caller. It's area code 954. You're on the air.
Hi, Michael and Jeannie. This is Patricia in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, hey there, young lady. I was thinking about calling you and finding out how things were proceeding for the support group. We'd gotten that text from you that you had a location set up.
Yes.
And wondering if you could be of any support.
Well, I have a follow-up phone call scheduled for tomorrow because the owner of the space was out of town, so she told me she'll be calling me tomorrow so that we could finalize the details. So it's looking great so far.
Awesome. Well, we're going to be leaving here on Saturday if there's any possibility. Well, it's probably not going to fall together that quickly, so we'll cancel that call. But anyway.
At the very least, I'll have information that I could provide for you to update our family so that anyone who wants to come out would have the information. But as far as our initial support meeting, I have not arranged that just yet. I've just been working on getting the space.
Cool. Fabulous.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to share something with you all today. And yesterday I had a birthday party for my daughter at the Heart Painter. And I had prearranged. Yeah, it was fabulous. And I had prearranged to have each child attending. I put a note in the invitation for them to come prepared to share with the group something that they loved and appreciated about my daughter. And we were going to do a love exchange. And it wasn't until the morning of the party that I decided, in addition to the ceremony honoring her, I'm going to do an actual love exchange with the kids. I'm going to teach them how to do it, and I'm going to do it. So I had invited my daughter's father to come to the party, who has been estranged from us for many years, and I wasn't even sure if he was going to show up. So I didn't even tell my daughter he was coming, just in case he couldn't make it. And it turned out he came, and he came at a point in the party right before we were ready to do this whole love exchange. And to top it off, he got a ride from somebody, and come to find out it was the woman who, he was having an affair with pretty much the whole time that him and I were together. So I said, invite her in. Don't leave her in the car, because I would rather you stay than have to run out because someone's waiting for you. Just invite her in. So she came in. And
You're
I think
awesome.
No, you're awesome, because it's only because of this work. I mean, I'm really holding back tears right now, because never in a million years would I have imagined this scenario would be possible. But she came in, I embraced her, I offered her food. She was shocked, but she, complied, and she had some friends with her, and they sat down, and I stood up in front of the room, and I was in my power, I was in my being. I had no anxiety or fear or hostility inside of me, and I got up on the microphone, and I brought the kids together, and I explained to them how to do the love exchange, and then I had my daughter with her father doing a love exchange, who she hasn't seen for about a year. And the
my
kids
whole body
is
just tingling.
Yeah, we did the love exchange, and, everyone else observed. The other adults observed. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could have done a love exchange with this woman, but, maybe another time. But anyway, we did the love exchange, and it was amazing. And then the kids went up on the microphone, and they each honored my daughter and expressed something that they loved and appreciated about her. And one parent in the back, she started crying. She was just moved by the whole thing. And it was just awesome. Like, after that, the kids were super energized and super charged, and they were just, the camaraderie was amazing with them, and they just had a blast. And I just, I had done a worksheet on my daughter's father when I was at the intensive, and I never prearranged this whole thing to come together. It was the universe, but in the end, it was amazing. He embraced me at the end of the party very respectfully and asked me when we could talk, when we could get together and have a conversation about working things out a little bit better. And as I reflected back on the day last night, I'm just in awe. I mean, I just never would have imagined that I couldn't even be in the same room with those individuals in the past without feeling things from the wrong side of the board. And so just incredible, and I was so excited to share it, even though it is quite personal. But, if somebody else listening who's new to the work can hear our testimonies, it's just going to, that's how we inspire each other even more, that this is real, it's real and it works.
What an awesome, awesome piece of work to do, Patricia. That is just so fabulous. And, there's a wonderful line in the Course in Miracles. I have to breathe to say it. It says, there is no place so holy upon the earth as a place where an ancient hatred becomes a present love.
Yeah.
And while most of the world is hanging out in their hostility, their fear, their condemnation, their negativity, even most of the churches hanging out in all of that, the fact that you bring a human life forward and express it that way, Yeshua himself would be standing, cheerleading you, clapping, jumping up and down and celebrating more, I'll bet you, than every sermon that was delivered in this country yesterday. What you did, I guarantee he'd be clapping more for, because that's his real work, is human life showing up instead of all this hostility and fear garbage that's being done in his name. So that you are just awesome. And I just appreciate hearing this so much, that it's what an opening on the planet for the actual work and manifestation of the teachings of the man named Yeshua. It's just monumental.
Well, thank you for bringing this to the world in his name. I truly appreciate both you and Jeannie so much, and it's just so exciting as the days go on to see the shifts that are happening in my life, and this is a huge one. I mean, this is something that, this was a thing that was going on in my life for like 15 years. I mean, that's how I was with him for a very long time, and that's how long this hostility and this battling was going on between us, even when we weren't seeing each other. And I'm really hopeful now that the love is healing, and things are being released, probably even as I'm talking to you right now, because I don't know what's happening on the other side since they walked out of that door last night. But so amazing, and I just wanted to share it with you all and say thank you again. So. Well,
they're probably wondering what hit them. and what hit them was the presence of your human life, which is the real work of the man named Yeshua, the presence of a human life. And the repercussions in your genetics, in your family chain, those who have departed from your family chain, the future generations, your daughter, are just, they're incalculable, absolutely incalculable. And the energetic opening on the planet, it's always awesome when human life shows up. Now let me see. Now, you've been, in order to produce this result, you've been doing this work for years now, right, Patricia?
No, I just started at the end of March of this year, 2012.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You're taking a 15-year issue in a relationship where there was infidelity and hostility for 15 years. You're telling me, and of course I'm being facetious, at the end of March, you're telling me April and half of May, in 6 weeks, you're creating that kind of transformation in your personal world?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And what a gift to give your daughter, as opposed to the modeling of the past and what happened in that relationship, and probably the words, the thoughts, the feelings you had to express or not express about her dad and that her dad had for you. I mean, that's eternally changing the whole world. And to model that for your daughter, that she can watch that happen, knowing where you've been, I mean, the trauma that's going to save her, the healing that's going to bring,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
It's my honor, and thank you both again. Love you so much.
Thank you, Patricia.
We accept and look forward to seeing what happens next.
Okay, I'll keep you posted. Bye-bye.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's awesome. That is phenomenal. Thank you, Patricia.
I'm almost in tears. Just being with the energy of that. It's just wow.
Yeah, wow. That explains it.
The thought comes that we had talked with Richard a few minutes ago about a couple of films that he's seen, and the thought comes that to tie this all together on still another level, another film that's very powerful to look at and to tie these pieces together. If you want to watch those we spoke about earlier, and it's available on Netflix, Saved by the Light. And it gives a bird's eye view of the kinds of things that need to be processed, how much resistance there can be to processing, and then the correlation between that film and what Patricia just shared, what six weeks of willingness will do is all I can do is breathe. All I can do is breathe.
There's someone in the chat room that is new to the show, and they're trying to figure out, how do you forgive like that? And they hope that listening, that some of this will help them to learn how. And, the world talks about forgiving others and letting them off the hook for their actions and what they've done, but that is not what Patricia's been doing. That's not what we do. We look at it from a different approach. So would you like to talk about that just briefly before we take another call?
Sure thing, sweetie. I had my mute button on. Excuse me, I had my mute button on. But yes, basically, if I can, Patricia, and I'll just kind of assume your permission to use that example. One of the things that happened, Patricia just did a 9-day intensive. She became involved in the work, as she said, about 6 weeks ago. She did, I think, 3 different workshops, 2.5-hour workshops, a 4-hour afternoon workshop. And then she did mind shifters and still point breathing, started doing worksheets, has been doing worksheets up until the intensive, which she attended, I think it's 3 weeks ago now. She did a 9-day intensive. We did a residential workshop here in Florida. Actually, it's the same intensive we'll be doing at Heartland in July. And I know that this was an issue that she worked on when she was at that intensive. And forgiveness, as opposed to being, I am justified in all my rage and grief and pain and fear. After all, look what they've done to victimize me, turns that whole conversation around into, oh my goodness, I'm a creator. Now you look at what Patricia did in this circumstance, and she stepped in consciously as a human being, the awesome active presence of love, and created a celebration and an event for her daughter. This is what we call On Creating Consciously. We have a whole workshop called On Creating Consciously. There's actually a 4-hour CD and a 2-hour DVD on the website you can get of On Creating Consciously. So what she just shared with us is that she went in because of the work she'd done, and I know that she did some major work at the 9-day intensive around some family trauma. And so the forgiveness process is, if I am in someone's presence and what comes up is rage, then the classic world says, you really enraged me, but I'll forgive you. We're going to suggest you never forgive anyone ever again. Here's what the conversation shifts to when you understand what forgiveness is. Gee, what you did really brought rage up in me, and I realized this is my rage. Listen to Richard's conversation, and Richard spoke about what these people had done and how it's bringing things forward for him. And I remember in an intensive, there was a young boy who was 5 years old when we first met him, He was a kid who lived in the Ozarks. He was the most unruly, or one of the most unruly. In school, he would have been, he was homeschooled, but he would have been labeled as learning disabled, behavior disordered, severe behavior disordered, and probably attention deficit disorder. His parents both started to do this work and work with their family of 5 children with these tools. And it was about 2 years later. Now this boy is 7. We're in an intensive. And his mother's actually doing, his father had done a 1-year program at Heartland, lived there for a year, and really intensively studied the work, shared it with his family. And then the next year, his wife came, and she did a 1-year program while he took care of the kids. And so this was during one of the summer intensives. He came with the children, and she was there. And we're working with a group of people, and somebody in the room, the kids are kind of off in the corner. The teaching center, our room is kind of L-shaped, and the kids were over in the corner quietly playing. By the way, at 7, this child is now one of the most respectful, intelligent, coordinated, cooperative children I've ever seen. And someone in the intensive spouts out, yeah, well, you know, such and such really made me mad. And this little guy over in the corner, who he's playing with his sisters, you don't even know he's there. You certainly don't know he's listening. And all of a sudden, he just pipes up like with a full, clear voice that the room could hear. Everybody in the room heard clearly. He pipes up and he said, well, my sister just this morning, she bringed up my anger. Now, what he was doing was offering a correction to this adult who would say, well, he's just a kid, what does he know? This adult who knows nothing but projection language. Somebody else made him mad. And this young boy at 7 knows enough to know that if he has anger come up, it's his anger. And, I mean, I was shocked when he just spouted that out, offering this feedback to this person just out of the blue. And I turned to him and looked at him. I was like shocked. And I said, well, what did you do then? He said, I just asked my mother for a worksheet. So this little guy at 7 has anger come up in an interaction with his sister. He can offer this as a correction to an adult who's blaming someone else for their internal condition, and he knows enough to know that he needs to forgive his anger. That's forgiveness. So when this little guy applies forgiveness, he doesn't apply it to his sister. He applies it to his anger to disappear his anger. What Patricia just shared with us was that some of the pain and some of the grief and some of the rage that she had around being cheated on as a wife and a mother, she applied forgiveness to her pain, to her rage, to her grief, which ripped her off for the capacity to create consciously in relationship to her family and especially to her daughter. And so when she shares how she designed a birthday party, as opposed to a place where you go out and you get sugar and you get high-fat food and you eat junk, she creates a conscious place. And the Heart Painter Studio is an awesome place in Boca Raton, Florida, where Evelyn, this lovely lady, does paintings that have to do, basically hearts. She just paints hearts on all kinds of things. She goes into people's homes and redesigns and takes furniture and walls and just all kinds of cool stuff. And so she takes them, and one of the things she has in her studio is a paint room. And the kids who come and do birthday celebrations there are invited, if they choose to wear old clothes. They go in the paint room, and they're just given all these paints, and they're just invited to go to town. Paint on the walls, write on the walls, write on each other, throw paint at each other, throw paint at the walls. Just have a blast rather than, well, we have to do this controlled thing where the children behave. Actually, to let their creative juices flow. And so what Patricia just shared with us is that she'd forgiven enough of her pain around being cheated on as a mom that she's able to consciously create a celebration that's powerful and healing for her daughter. When her former shows up, instead of being in pain or intimidation or fear or what's going to happen or resentment, she stands as a space of love, invites him in, finds out that the woman that he had been in relationship with while they were married is out in the car and is able to expand that human life, that love, to that person. Now, forgiving that stuff doesn't mean that you condone anybody's behavior. It doesn't mean that you don't hold people accountable when their behavior is off base. It just means that you keep holding on to and functioning out of your human life. And everything in you and everything in your genetics that could take you out of a human life, instead of just playing it out one time, puking it on one person after another, after another, after another, serial rage, you own it, you forgive it, and you function as a conscious human being. And that's what Patricia's story is. If you want to know how to do that, go to the website, whyagain.com. On the right-hand side, there's a link that says Download Worksheets. Click on that link, and that link will take you to a series of links. Now, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of links under that section with all kinds of different worksheets. But the first 7 links, the first one will give you the reality management process in a written form. It's chapter 24 from my book, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And you can download the book free from the website, too. It will give you the actual worksheet process itself, which is the how-to of forgiveness from the Aramaic. There are, I think, 5 different radio shows now where we've walked somebody through a worksheet. The second one, actually the first one is one of the most awesome worksheets I've ever seen or been involved in somebody doing. The second one is a worksheet with Richard, who just called in, and you notice how Richard went right to how, and I had this stuff come up. If you listen to that worksheet, and, I've got Richard's permission to tell his tale on it, in that particular worksheet, about a dozen times I have to keep pulling Richard back to what's his part in this process. And what most people do is when they're in turmoil or upset, they totally and completely block any awareness of themselves out of the process except for their pain, and then they have conversations about everybody else and how everybody else is doing it to them again. And instead, when you go in and forgive, you stop playing that game, and you get to live a human life. So that's kind of in a nutshell. And if you have any questions in the chat room, you're welcome to call in 646-200-4169 and ask your question directly, or, of course, write it in the chat room, and Jeannie will share it with us, and we'll just continue this conversation until we get to the point where every mind, heart, and being on the planet understands the original work of Yeshua and how to produce a miracle like the one Patricia just did.
That's
so,
what
sweetie,
I told them. I gave them the link to the website and told them to download the MP3s, listen to them, and to please call in tomorrow. They said they would give them a try, and I said call in tomorrow. We'd help them walk through it, just like you've walked other people through it. And they're talking about their anger towards their father, and I just explained that their anger is becoming their physiology and their disease, and that you've said this often. The question is not do they deserve your anger. The question is do you deserve it, because you're getting the original.
Yay.
And Dr. Tim is on.
That's it. That's what we're here for. Go ahead, sweetie.
I was just saying Dr. Tim is now on with us.
Oh, cool. Welcome, Dr. Tim. How do you be, sir?
Well, I was doing really, really well, and then I heard that last caller, and now I don't really even have words for how well I'm doing.
I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. It's awesome, isn't it?
6 weeks. Unbelievable.
Yep.
So
until you've been around the work for a while, and then it's just very believable, isn't it? I know you see that happen every week in your support group.
Yes, but this level, this depth, this is so, to me, it demonstrates the power in that woman and the power of her willingness and her focus to change a long-standing pattern in her life, the power of these tools, and the critical mass that we're in the middle of watching develop.
Yeah, and it's such, to me, it's a testament to the genius of forgiveness and the tools that the man named Yeshua brought to us. He's popularly known as Jesus, but in Aramaic his name is not Jesus. His name is actually Yeshua. the genius and the wisdom and what he offered the world that has been just buried in fear, just buried in keeping people terrorized and in weakness and helplessness, and how much they are sinners, and making people proclaim themselves and claim that as their identity, rather than, and of course this young lady could be, she's got this rage toward her husband, and she could be, convinced to condemn herself as a sinner and be sorrowful and repentant about her sin, and she'd never be able to remove that hostility and rage, and she'd go to her grave with it. Her husband, her daughter would carry it on and probably manifest it in the next generation and the next and the next, because she bought into a lie, an identity that wasn't true, a lie that destroys. We are these awesome creatures called love, and we're here to manifest that. And Patricia, I just, as you were talking about it, my whole body was just lighting up with goosebumps and a tear in my eye, just listening to the kind of transformation that you're bringing to the world. And, another person on the team doing it, it's like, yay.
Yeah, it's a fabulous birthday present for all of us.
For sure. For sure. So what's exciting in your world, Dr. Tim? We're glad to hear your voice.
Well, I have the privilege of doing this work 5 days a week with a lot of other people, including myself. So there are daily stories. Not all of them are quite as dramatic and on-the-spot turnarounds as our last caller, but on a regular basis, people are opening up their awareness to what they're hiding from themselves and all the pain it's creating. And as soon as they do that with willingness and the tools, it just falls away. So it's absolutely fabulous to be on this team and doing this work. I had another person last week who began to open awareness to the fact that a death in the family and issues with his mother, issues with his ex-wife, issues with his in-law's mother, all of which might have gotten triggered on Mother's Day, could be possibly related to a flare-up of pain 3 days later in a chronic illness that he's convinced he has. And just to see the opening of the possibility of awareness there is just, it's amazing. It was healing for me to be in the room when he started to get it. And I was having some healing energies last week on Monday, Tuesday, and by the time Friday came, no more discomfort, no more, just wonderful stuff. Wonderful.
Awesome.
So big doings, and there was a little black spot on the sun the other day. So everybody survived the eclipse.
There you go. Well, we're down to about 45 seconds. So, Dr. Tim, if you have the space, would you mind giving me a quick call when we finish the show on my cell? And everybody, we bring a stranger with you tomorrow. Not somebody necessarily, of course, stranger than you are, but somebody who hasn't been on the show today. Introduce somebody that you know is ready to heal and to learn to change their lives. And, I really am appreciative of the fact that we get to document this whole process. We've got well over 300 shows like this in the archives, and some of the happenings on these shows have just been so phenomenal and powerful and awesome. So please keep us in mind when you share this with someone else. Invite them to come and be with the show and create the best year yet of your eternal life. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeannie, who present the internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeannie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeannie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.